This is the original Kohler electric plant for my 42-foot 1968 Chris Craft Commander. It's a 6.5 kilowatt unit. 6.5 A, I believe it's 27 is the model, which I believe makes it an automatic start 6.5 kilowatt genset. So it doesn't have many hours on it. I've had this boat for 8 years, and it has never run even once. It hadn't run for many years before we got the boat. And the reason it didn't run is when we got the boat, it did not have a carburetor. The fuel pump was not hooked up. It did not have a raw water pump. The circulator pump pulley was gone. I'm trying to think what else was missing. That might be about it. Oh, and carburetor linkage. No carburetor linkage. The muffler was disconnected. It obviously had not run in a very long time. And it still has not run since I got it, but recently I decided to get it going, get it all back together. It has very low hours. I believe it's around 300 hours, which is not much at all for a genset. But I thought, well, if I'm going to get this thing running again, I should make some changes. So this one came with raw water cooling. It's an open circuit cooling system that takes river or ocean water, preferably river water, low silt, and runs it through the engine directly as the coolant. I think that's a horrible idea. This is an old school flathead engine. It's all iron, and untreated iron and water, just a bad combination. So I decided that I was going to modify this to make it antifreeze cooled. And so I went and found a pump, and I found the pulley, and I fabricated some brackets, and I put a heat exchanger on it, so the coolant comes out of the exhaust pipe. This is a water-cooled, or water-cooled exhaust manifold. The coolant comes out of there, through here, down into the heat exchanger, out the heat exchanger, back down into the engine, around the cylinders, then up into the head, comes up here. It used to go through this hose, but I got rid of that and instead went with a radiator cap. And then back into the raw water, or the cooled exhaust manifold, and that's it. Now the raw water, so river or ocean water, whatever, comes up from a seacock down below into the raw water pump. It goes into the raw water pump, out the raw water pump, down to the bottom of the heat exchanger, and then it comes out the top of the heat exchanger here, through this hose, and from here it comes up to this fitting. This is called an exhaust shower head, and so the water that's now warm, because it's gone through basically the radiator, it's cooled off the engine coolant. Warm water then comes up here, sprays into this jacketed exhaust pipe. You can see there are two pipes there. The inner one has the exhaust gas, and the outer one carries the water, and then it sprays, and then there's a hose that connects the exhaust to the water lift muffler, which then pushes it out up the copper pipe and out via this last hose here. So I have been working for a couple of weeks on doing all kinds of stuff to try and get this thing going. It's got great compression, 120 psi. It's a 119 to 122, so we'll just round it and call it 120 on all 4 cylinders, which is very good for a flathead engine. The shielded spark plug wires are in good shape. Everything is looking really good. It cleaned up very nicely. I think it's going to run really well. Today I was installing the fuel filter and running the fuel lines up the side there to the fuel pump, which I also disassembled, and the diaphragm's in great shape. And so I just have one more part to put on there, pour some gas into it, and we'll start pumping. But for today, this is as far as I'm going to take it. It's looking pretty good, though. Quick update on the Kohler genset I'm trying to bring back to life. So the carburetor that I have is from a newer model unit. This is a side draft carburetor from a Kohler that had the L654, 6.5 cubic inch engine. And as you can see, this unit has a built-in carburetor, choke actuator. It's part of the carburetor. The original configuration used an updraft carburetor. It wasn't on the boat when I got it. And this is the choke actuator. And it attaches here. So since I didn't have the carburetor, the original carburetor did not come with the boat, so I don't need this anymore. But then I realized that, hopefully it shows up here, get some light on things. You see those 2 screw holes? There's a screw hole here and another one there. Well, those are quarter 20 screw holes. And if there's no screw in them, then exhaust gas will come pouring out there. Because this is the exhaust manifold, it's water cooled. This is the exhaust pipe. I don't know why Kohler used this big bulky thing up on top here, but it is what it is. And in any case, without that choke attached or screws in here or something, all kinds of exhaust gases will come billowing out of those 2 holes. So I'm going to get those plugged up, and I'm going to do that by reinstalling the choke, but without the arm actuator in place. And that's the plan. Got the original gasket here. It's in good condition. Mount that here like so. Screw through the hole. Completely removing that lever arm might not be a bad idea, but it's not like it's going to hit anything. It's out of the way, so I think for now I'll just leave it. get down where I can actually see this thing. Okay. So with that, no chance of exhaust gas coming out those screw holes anymore. This will move up and down as the exhaust manifold warms up, but it doesn't really matter. Now I'm just waiting for some 2-inch hose to connect the exhaust pipe to the muffler inlet. So we should have this thing running before too long. Okay, so one other issue I need to address is the spark plug wires. These are some funky shielded spark plug wires that I don't think are available anymore. This one's in good shape. It goes deep down inside the spark plug. You can see the spark plug's kind of a funky shape too. The whole outside here is metal, grounded, and then I don't even know if you can see it, but deep down inside the spark plug, yeah, there you go. Hopefully you can see the contact for the positive lead of the spark. So that spring is very important to make solid contact with the top of the positive electrode. Cylinder number 4 here, the wire is still there, but the spring is gone. It's not down inside the spark plug. It wasn't there when I got it. Who knows where it went to. So what I'm going to do is take this spring, maybe cut it to size just a bit, stick it down inside the hole, and use that to make sure that there's good solid contact. Okay, so here's my tiny little coil spring. I'll throw that down inside the hole. And looks like it went a little bit sideways, so we'll kind of straighten that out. Okay. It's got a nice spring action there, so that's good. And this side too has good spring action, so you know there's good contact down on the top of the spark plug positive terminal. Okay. And there we have it. Spark plugs are done. Ignition system is done. I also put an overflow tank in that will collect any coolant that comes out of the radiator cap there. I still need to top that up, and I might do that now. I think we're pretty much there on this old Kohler 6.5 kilowatt marine genset. I've got coolant in the coolant bottle and burped it out all the way to the radiator cap. Everything else is ready with the exception of there's a hose that connects the exhaust pipe here to the muffler inlet there. And I'm still waiting for that to show up at the local chandlery, and once it does, I will hopefully get this thing running. Stay tuned.